movement of theology in Roman Catholicism. The liturgical renewal of both were equally, though differently, profound. The resumption of the practice of frequent communion, the readings of the prayers aloud, and the adoption of the local languages for the Orthodox communities, together with the rediscovery of more ancient forms of iconography and the revision of the Roman Rite after the Second Vatican Council. And in both cases, though with roots going back several centuries, this involved the renewal of monasticism and different forms of monasticism and the propagation of, for instance, the Jesus Prayer to a wider body of believers. So profound were these developments that one can speak of Orthodoxy and Roman Catholicism as having been born again in the past century. These renewals should be, as I mentioned, borne in mind, for they help us understand the broader context of stirrings elsewhere. The main thesis of this present book is that something similar is underway in certain circles in Pentecostalism. That similar phenomena happened in evangelical circles over the last decades of the 20th century is well known and surveyed here, along with a considered reflection on criteria, the Chicago Call of 1977, Thomas Oden's paleo-orthodoxy, the convergence worship movement, and the ancient future movement, among others. What characterized all these were the desire to return to historic roots and continuity, faithfulness to the scriptures as read and understood by the ancient church, creedal identity, a fuller understanding of salvation, sacramental worship, and ecclesial authority and unity. Although in some cases this desire led to a return home, as it was described by converts to Eastern Orthodoxy and Roman Catholicism, this was not uniformly the case, though the desire for an authentic immersion into ancient Christianity continues to burn. What then of Pentecostalism? Bishop Emilio Alvarez describes, often in very personal terms, the way in which some, in particular among Afro-Latino communities, have been led to seek greater theological depths and liturgical and spiritual riches in the early church, combining their attention to orthopathy with orthodoxy, theological and liturgical, leading to the formation of communities such as the Union of Charismatic Orthodox Churches. Bishop Alvarez describes other attempts to recover the great tradition, or at least elements of it, by African American and Afro-Latino Christians in North America, in particular the Church of God in Christ, the African Orthodox Church, and the Joint College of African American Pentecostal Bishops. He also speaks with candor and sensitivity about the way in which such attempts sometimes become a form of mimicry, in the sense used by Homi Baba. Yet, there is here, nevertheless, a serious desire and attempt to learn from the early church in matters theological, liturgical, and spiritual, and also from their modern exponents, especially Eastern Orthodoxy. The name and influence of Father Alexander Schmemann is referred to frequently in this book. Echoing Nathaniel's question in John chapter 1, verse 46, Bishop Emilio provocatively titles his second chapter, "Can Anything Orthodox Come from Pentecostalism?" This question is indeed a fascinating one, and perhaps more so with respect to the Afro-Latino charismatic experience specifically. Is there a difference between, on the one hand, the way in which Eastern Orthodox or Roman Catholics, who have always claimed continuity or identity with the ancient church, despite periods subsequently designated as pseudo-morphosis, experience a renewal by returning to the sources, and the way in which those who have responded to the gospel proclamation in different contexts return to the same sources? Is it a return or a turn? For it is, after all, a new encounter with previously or largely unfamiliar material. Can those whose experience of Christianity has been an oppressive white man's religion return to those ancient sources, including Egyptian, Ethiopic, Syrian, and others, and find in them more?